When you use the metaphor of supernatural, you can really explain things you couldn't. And that's where storytelling really came from, explaining the things that we didn't have answers for.
Hey everyone, it's Holland, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are kicking off our final episode of Wolfpack Unpacked. I've had a lot of fun talking about the series, getting to know the cast, and reminiscing about my days about working with Jeff Davis. But today we have some very special guests, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Rodrigo Santoro. They're joining us for the first time, along with Chloe and Tyler, who've been with us all season. Before we dive into the show, I just wanted to welcome both of you to this After Show Unpacked series. We're gonna start with you, Sarah. You are executive producer of the show. So what was it like taking on that role for this particular project and working with Jeff throughout the season?
Jeff's incredible in the sense that, and you've already experienced it, he's so extremely collaborative. He's always very open to suggestions, ideas, and just sort of to bouncing off each other. And from the beginning, he sort of learned quickly how to best utilize me, where I was best left alone. It feels extremely inclusive, which is not something I think that you find a lot.
It felt a lot like a family.
Jeff should be the head of a dating app in the sense that he can put people together and it just clicks and it works on such a natural level. So in that sense, I think it's actually better than a family.
He should be the CEO of a dating app. He's an incredibly good matchmaker.
Right?
Rodrigo, what drew you to the script?
Great writing, you know. I'll get there. When I heard that Sarah was going to be playing this part,
Then he said no.
I said, yes.
No, Sarah, you initially were hesitant to sign on to the series, I heard, but once you read the script, something changed your mind. What drew you in?
At first, when they sent the script, I was like, oh, please say thank you very much. I'm a big Jeff Davis fan, but this isn't for me. And then my team read it and said, just read it. You have to read it. And I do. I love to read. So I said, okay. And just like Rodrigo said, I wanted to know what happened. And then when I got into deeper with Jeff and we started to discuss two of the main concepts behind the show, one of them being what anxiety and mental health looks like in this day and age, both for adults, for teenagers, for parents, and just how this super connected world that we live in has ultimately made us more and more disconnected, and how all of us deal with that anxiety and that isolation so differently. And the other is the fire. I live in Los Angeles currently. In the last big fire, I was evacuated for an entire week. We left at 3 in the morning with flames ripping down our street, not knowing if we were coming home to our things, our home, and no one has really told a story through that lens either. All wrapped up in something really scary, and I think that's the best way to address those issues, because if we hit people over the head, nobody wants to watch that. We live in this reality. It's scary enough.
It's interesting to see that he's brought the wildfires of Los Angeles that have affected us personally, working with this incredibly young cast. What was that like for both of you? Did you see similarities and differences in yourselves?
It's been great, you know. They're great kids. I remember meeting them for the first time, and I got there and we're gonna be related, and we barely know each other. It's always like that, and then we're shooting the next day. You know, it's funny, I'm a father myself, but my daughter is only 5. She's not there yet. When I became a parent, like thinking of, oh, I'm gonna be the educator now. I have to educate, I have to teach, and very quickly I caught myself being educated. There's one thing that I still do to my daughters. Whenever I'm going to talk to her, I come down to her level and look into her eyes. I never talk to her from up here, because I think it's very important to not be in a place of, I tell you what to do. You do this, you do that. I want to get to know who she is as a person as well, even though she's a child. All that story just to say I've been learning with them. They're younger, not that younger than me. I'm only, what is it?
25.
Exactly. So
25 years older than them, or 25?
it's a two-way. We just exchange.
I like the eye level.
Oh yeah, it's very important.
I'm gonna pick up that tip for all my nephews.
Yeah, so hey, you two, when you talk to me, could you guys please come down to my eye level, if that would be an option?
Chloe, Tyler, what would Wolfpack be without these two?
I don't even want to answer that question.
Be a lot different.
I think the minute I met them, it reminded me of myself and of Tyler, because they are so kind, and they're kind to everyone. That's why you two are so successful, and it's so awesome to watch you guys do your work, because you know, it's everything.
Jeff has said he was really excited to tap into more adult themes on the series, and that comes with hookups, which there was no shortage of. Teenage hormones seem to be in hyperdrive. I'm looking at you, Tyler. Let's take a look. Wow, well, Tyler. Harlan, he's a bit promiscuous. Were you nervous to film any of those scenes?
Yeah, I mean, just it being my first project, I think I had never done any sort of intimacy on camera before. So I was like, how's it gonna look? Once I got into it, and as Sarah said, I met the crew and they were so involved and invested in just cheering me on and like embracing it. And that made me feel so comfortable.
When you're acting and when you're in those moments, it's extremely vulnerable. And the vulnerability that Tyler has been able to put out there for Harlan is really impressive.
That really means a lot. And yeah, like I remember actually calling my dad after one of those first scenes and I was like, I am like genuinely in love with playing this character now. I'm having a blast.
And you have your own moment, let's call it, with Austin.
I do.
And was that your first on-screen kiss?
Yeah, that was my first on-screen kiss. It was amazing. Rio Mangini, fantastic actor. I love working with him. He is so invested and calm and present.
Yeah, he was on this season of Unpacked, and he has a lot of conviction in everything he says.
Yes.
A lot of vigor.
The most interesting person I've ever met, and I love him to death. Yes.
I picked up on that. Sarah, Rodrigo, do you guys remember your first on-screen kisses, and were there nerves there?
My first on-screen, any kind of relationship was on All My Children. I was 16. He was 40-something. Yeah, it was trial by fire. That was my first.
It's been a while. I was 18. It was my first professional job as an actor. I was playing this boyfriend of a very famous actress in Brazil. I think she was like 28 or something like that. I was very nervous. Then when we were about to shoot, her boyfriend shows up at the studio. Just came to say hi.
Sure.
Okay.
Stopping by.
But she was great. She said, hey, hi, honey. And she's like, now you can go.
She put the boyfriend in his place, and he
She did.
stepped down.
She did.
Let's switch gears a bit. We see the parent-child relationships both unfold and get mentioned throughout the series. Some are more complicated than others, so let's take a look.
Can't you carry a cell phone like a normal teenager?
If you want me to be a normal teenager, why don't you try not using the word when talking to your teenager?
I'm the reason you made the self-comments.
But you're not the reason I kept them.
You should be nice to me.
I am nice to you.
You're not. But you should be.
Harlan, you know who you are. You're my son.
Rodrigo, you are playing a single father who courageously adopted two young special kids. How did you prepare for that role?
I've been preparing for 5 years. My daughter is 5. Being a parent is being a parent. Garrett has 2 very special kids that have this specific condition. He tried to protect them from themselves, but I think Garrett is about to learn something else with them about their nature, about, who they want to be. And that's also a learning curve for any parent. They want to follow their path, and you have to embrace that instead of fighting it or just pushing in one direction or another direction because you think it's wrong or right.
And the fighting scenes?
Yeah, it was intense. It was very late. It was like, 3 a.m., and there we were.
Sobbing.
Right?
Crying our eyes out.
It was hard because I love Tyler. He actually punched me. I mean, Garrett.
Scripted, unscripted?
Scripted.
No, scripted. But then, we were able to work it out, and some truth and some real raw emotions came out of that.
Their relationship is very interesting because as much as Garrett just wants Harlan to almost like accept him as his father, Harlan will not let go of this fear of what he is. He's in denial and he wants to just live a normal life. He doesn't want to have to hide things. I think that every time he lashes out on Garrett's always just there like willing to hear him out and listen. I think that's what created like such a beautiful relationship between those characters.
So I know that working on my show, there was definitely an online enthusiastic fan base. Now that we've finished up this season, you guys have started to see some of that. What has that been like for you guys?
Amazing. I think so far on social media, it's just been an outpour of love and excitement. Every day I wake up and I'm like, what is going on? What did I do to deserve this? Because it's just amazing.
When you really see like the fans at Comic-Con, you kind of put into perspective, like it doesn't matter how many fans there are, it matters how you're emotionally impacting these people, that connection that you can create with the fans and just help them, get through anything that they're dealing with.
Rodrigo, you have an incredible fan base in Brazil. How has the reception been back home?
Giant. It surprised me. When they found out, they really expressed their love. I'm feeling a connection that I don't think I had before.
I'm working on my Portuguese, so one day he'll be
yeah.
proud to take me there.
Well, it's been an amazing season. We want to end it on a high note. What was everyone's favorite moment?
I would probably have to say, going back to that scene with me and Rodrigo, where I punched him in the face because I went into that scene and I was like, okay, there's a lot of blocking, there's a lot of dialogue. You kind of like get flustered with that. But then I was viewing it a different way and I was like, just view it like you punched your actual dad in the face. It was so emotional and beautiful. It was amazing.
For me too. That scene wasn't about me, but I was in the back sobbing, crying because this relationship is so strong and it's been strong since the very beginning. And this disconnect between these two, Luna wants this glue to come together, and that's the moment. It's really special.
I like this moment where Ramsey kind of like corners Garrett, and the stakes are very high. Doesn't have a way out, and he needs to make a deal with her and tell her the nature of his kids. The way she played was so cool because he has no idea about Ramsey's secrets. Garrett was seeing somebody that was interested in learning more about him, but there was something off, but not really, so it was very ambiguous. It's hard to pick just one.
Coming off Comic-Con, and Chloe got off stage and she called her mom.
You made me cry.
She was shaking and she was talking to her mom, and I was like, wait, why aren't we FaceTiming her? And we FaceTimed Chloe's mom so that she could share that experience. And to me, that's the reason that we're here, those moments.
On the way to the panel, I FaceTimed my mom.
You too?
10 years later.
My mom was with me doing auditions since I was 10 years old, and I am gonna cry. Yeah. It was just awesome.
That was really special to be a part of.
And now for our final game, Pack Superlatives. I'm gonna shout out a question and you have to quickly just write down your answer, and then we're gonna reveal what all of you guys wrote down, okay?
Okay.
Number 1, who is most likely to be the first to memorize their lines?
From here?
From the entire cast.
Let's do it.
So the answer for me is Rodrigo's usually first because he works on the dialect, but then it's probably me just because I memorize quickly. Can't change your answer. I just saw you.
Wait.
Rodrigo.
Chloe. I've seen her.
I said Armani or Rodrigo. Rodrigo works on the dialect, and Armani, I wouldn't say he has a photographic memory, but he might, because
close.
It's pretty close. He will look at a page and just automatically know all the lines to a T. It's insane.
I said Rodrigo as well. I mean, I usually sit next to him when we're getting ready for like a scene, and he just has notes, and like because of the dialect, and we talk about it a lot, so he puts a lot of work into that.
I like to learn the lines as soon as I get them. It's just fun, because I'm so invested with the story.
Who is most likely to come to set early?
I would say Rodrigo.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't vote him myself, but I just can't be in the trailer waiting. When I get ready, I want to go to set, and I want to stay there.
Chloe.
I would say Rio or Zach. They're always early.
I would say Sarah, because she's a producer as well.
Okay. And who is most likely to be found at the crafty table, the snacks guys? Pretty sure I know.
I think you know, because
I know.
we talked about it.
Yeah, I got the foodie vibe from this person.
Armani. He's pretty fit, but he's constantly, just...
It's those, Armani or Tyler.
Wait, what about Jeff for Swedish Fish?
That too.
Thank you, Jeff and his Swedish
We'll
Fish
add
man.
that. We'll add that.
Jeff would like a gift bag of Red Bull and Swedish Fish.
Thank you. Yes, yes.
Nice. I also said me and Armani. We probably make at least like 10 trips to Crafty, just looking at everything, seeing the options. I honestly don't know how Armani does it though. This kid literally eats everything and does not gain like
He's
an
the
ounce.
youngest. Just wait, I promise it'll catch up. That's probably why I don't go to craft service.
Sorry, Armani.
Okay, next question. Who is most likely to do their own stunts?
I know what you people will say, so of course I have to go different.
Let's start with you.
Rodrigo, because I've gotten smarter. He wants to do it. And I'm like, no, it's okay. I mean, I know how to do it, but we can let him do it.
Rodrigo.
Because I need to get smarter.
That's good. Rodrigo with 3 exclamation points because Tyler and I showed up on set to film something for episode 1 and you were in the thick of it, fully into the night, going through it. This man is doing parkour up on the hills, he's jumping back down, he's opening shit. Moral of the story, we were watching you on the monitor and I just have to talk about this. I have never been so inspired in my entire life. You were incredible out there. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I said, I had to add me along with Rodrigo just because not a lot of people have seen me getting thrown multiple times into walls by Officer Miller. He's just got a bone to pick with me for some reason. I have witnesses.
He broke the wall.
I've put holes in walls and everything. But also, yeah, Rodrigo's literally willing to do anything. Please be safe.
Well, yeah, not anything. It's the kid in me that just wants to play.
Our last question is, who is most likely to ask for more takes with your scene partner? Rodrigo.
Oh, yeah.
But I can listen to him speak all day, so I don't mind. I'm always like, no, we're good, move on. But then he starts talking, like, okay.
Yeah, I've never voted so many times on myself. Yes, but I have to say, I just like to explore. This one has been very generous because when I ask, she's like, of course, sometimes it's worth it, right?
Oh, most of the time.
Well, I wrote between the two of us, Tyler, and then I wrote Rodrigo, of course. You do like to explore, and I respect that a lot. I love watching you work. It's awesome. And you too.
I would say my more takes is probably just for like my hair because I'm always adjusting it.
Your hair wants takes, not you.
Exactly. My hair's like, another take, Tyler. Do another take. I also wrote Rodrigo because he's a perfectionist. If he thinks that he said a word like the slightest way that he didn't want it to come out, he's like, can we run that back? And he has a vision in his head, so we kind of just let him do what he wants to do.
That's my son.
Okay, I can't believe that's it for this season of Wolfpack Unpacked. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you to our cast for diving into the details of this show, and thanks to our fans for having supported us through the season. You can binge the entire first season of Wolfpack over and over again, exclusively on Paramount Plus.